In this video, I'm going to be doing a Rogue Company tier list for Season 14. If you enjoy and find this tier list useful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And with that being said, enjoy the video. I'd also like to note that there will be rogues in order in their tiers. So there will be rogues at the top of S tier, which are the best of the S tiers, then bottom S tier, which is slightly worse than the top S tiers. I'll be ranking the rogues based on their passives, their ability, and how they can help their team as a whole. First, we're going to start with Anvil. He gets 2 shields and he can make coverage, block entrances, or defuse bombs, and his shields have a lot of health, so unless you're going against a team with shredder rounds, then Anvil is really great with his shields. As for his passive, it's good, but not every team runs flashbangs, so it's only good depending on the team you're going against. As for his perks, he has legendary armor, which is probably one of the best in the game, and all his purple perks are really solid. Anvil is one of the best when it comes to holding down a site or a hill. With all that being said, we'll start Anvil at a solid A tier. Canon. Canon's ability Gatling gun is strong in casual lobbies as he shreds through enemies, but it doesn't work as well in high tier lobbies due to higher skilled players being able to take him out by aiming at his head. And for his passive, it's one of the worst in the game, if not the worst, because it has a small chance to give you back a bullet into your mag, which doesn't help much in fights. As for his perks, he has legendary life drain, which is an insanely great perk, and bulletproof can protect him from probably 1 to 2 more bullets than normal, so it's not too strong. And his purple perks are all great. Canon can be good for pushing a point or a hill if used correctly, by being a beef shield for his teammates. This puts Canon at the top of B tier for now. Shock. Shock's rage ability allows him to revive himself or get a boost of health. Reviving himself sometimes just causes enemies to get an extra kill if they bait your revive, but using it to push while having extra health is probably the most efficient way to use it. His passive allows you to roll into cover while you're down, and he has 50 extra health, which saves him from being finished. Shock can be used as a great entry rogue if you use his ability as you push, so you get the extra health. Shock's really great rogue, and we'll put him at A tier. Dalia. Dalia's passive is definitely the most versatile passive, as you can link to any rogue on your team and then you steal their passive, and you can use their passive for that round and link to a different teammate in a different round. Her ability lets her revive that teammate that she's linked to without needing to actually be at their body. Just make sure you're within 30 meters from the teammate, otherwise the link revive won't work. She has gold lifeline and gold bounce back, which gold bounce back is probably my personal favorite perk in the game because it keeps you in action quicker. However, if you play rogue, you know that anything Dalia can do medic wise, Saint just does better in every way. So Dalia unfortunately will be our first rogue in the C tier. Dallas has one of the best passives to ability combos, since his passive instantly recharges his ability, and his ability to detect the nearest enemy, and you can wipe through teams if you kill quick enough and outsmart them with the reveal intel. Dallas's legendary perks are crazy. He has crack shot, which if you can hit your headshots is insane, and then he has spotter, which is like tracker rounds, except while you reveal enemies for 5 seconds you can also see their footsteps. Dallas is a really solid rogue, and we'll have to give him A tier. Dima, the explosive man himself, the only rogue with 2 lethal gadgets, which when paired with his passive is amazing. Since his passive reveals enemies when he hits them with those grenades, and his ultimate shoots 3 grenades out with a decent radius, and when shot in a good enough spot can wipe through a whole team. And Dima with legendary blaster and legendary tenacity allows for his grenades to do even more damage while lowering the damage he takes from nades. Dima will definitely be going into S tier, as I see little to no downside to him. Glitch. Let's just talk about why Glitch is the worst rogue in the game. His passive is great, as you can see where enemies' gadgets are through walls from 60 meters away, but his ability, a whole ability, hacks enemy gadgets and disables their ability to use their abilities or util, which sounds good, right? Well, it only lasts like 2 to 3 seconds, so when he hacks and you and your team have no time to push or make a play, because by the time you try to do something, the enemy team is already able to use their abilities and util again. You're much better off running a rogue that has an EMP grenade instead, because an EMP grenade lasts longer than a whole hack ability. His perks are also decent with legendary tracker rounds and gadgeteer, but you'll have to spend the money on gadgeteer and then buy util as well to be able to use that perk really efficiently. And then his tracker rounds is probably the best thing about this rogue, so we'll have to get Glitch in the Glitch tier. Glimpse. Glimpse's ability lets her go invisible, and it runs on a fuel meter, so it takes skill to use it efficiently and not waste some of the meter. And her passive is really great because it will prevent you from being flanked or let you know where enemies are really close to you. Then Glimpse has one of the best legendary perk combos in the game, with the restock, which is probably the best perk in the game because it not only instantly reloads your gun, but it also reduces gadget cooldown by 15%. Then she has life drain, so basically after 1 down, you're ready for another fight ASAP. Glimpse also has a really big skill gap and can be played with many different playstyles, so we'll have to put her around the bottom of A tier. Juke. Juke shouldn't be as good as she is, but she's only good if you exploit her, so we're gonna negate the exploits from her tier ranking. So just looking at her rocket boots, they're great for ground fighting, but if you use them in the air and you start getting shot, you're just caught in the middle of the air and can't do anything to escape death. Her ability is her drones, which while they don't deal a lot of damage and can easily be destroyed, they can reveal enemy location, and she gets legendary energize and Gadgeteer, which is one of the weaker legendary perk sets, but still good. If you're really good with Juke's movement, then she can be really crazy. For now, we'll just have to put Juke at the top of B tier. Castro, my second main rogue in the game. She has one of the strongest abilities in the game because her drones can kill with 2 to 3 drones hitting an enemy. You can use the drones to block off entranceways or to force enemies to play the way you want them to play. And her passive is amazing, especially if you're able to obtain a crazy amount of downs. For her perks, she gets legendary restock and shredder rounds, which is a really good combo due to restock being as crazy as it is. Castro is 100% S tier. Lancer definitely has the best passive in the game because she doesn't have to reload her gun. All she has to do is roll and her gun automatically reloads. Her ability also allows her to run really fast while making her footsteps silent, and it lasts for about 14 seconds or until she shoots her gun, which allows for Lancer to be the best flanking rogue in the game. And when you pair it with her legendary evade and stalker, along with purple life drain, she can go crazy in fights. Lancer will definitely go into S tier. Mac, the strikeout and King of the Hill menace. His ability works amazingly in those two game modes because it forces enemies to wait for the flash bomb to go off before making a push. Otherwise, the enemies will be seeing heaven for the next few seconds. His passive armor is crazy good because when he gets a kill, he automatically gets the armor back. So his base health is basically 125 health instead of 100 like every other rogue, besides Umbra, but we'll get to that later. But Mac also has legendary stalker and tenacity along with his purple perks are a crazy good set of perks. If his bomb ability would be easier to land, I could see him being S tier, but for now, we'll have to put him at A tier. Phantom, when put into the right hands, can be one of the deadliest rogues in the game due to not only the sniper, but her passive makes it so health regen of the rogues are delayed. So if you get hit by Phantom, your health regen will take 9 seconds to start instead of the normal 5 seconds, which will allow for you or your team to make a push before the team can regen health. Her ability is really good for closing off entranceways or blocking enemy vision while your team rotates. Phantom gets legendary life drain and shredder rounds, and also has amazing purple perks, which makes her a lethal rogue. Phantom will be at the bottom of A tier for now. Ronin, my main, the GOAT herself. Ronin, she's automatically the top of S tier, without a doubt the best rogue in the game. Her passive itself counters half, if not more of half, of the roster. She doesn't get revealed by tracker rounds, spotter, Dima passive, any intel rogues can't detect her, no sticky sensors, nothing. Then you have her ability knife, which you can throw to block off doorways, or throw at people's feet and shoot the knife, and it'll kill whomever is near it. And she gets legendary bounce back and shredder rounds, and has amazing purple perks, with purple blaster making her knife even stronger. So Ronin is without a doubt at the very top of S tier. Runway, her passive allows her to carry 2 primaries, which is a sniper and an AR. A very strong combo, but her ability briefcase is strong for her teammates since it gives them infinite reserve ammo, which is really good in respawn game modes, and it gives them their util back. She gets legendary gunsmith, which is very strong and energized, so she gets her briefcase back even quicker. And for all of this, we'll put Runway near the top of A tier since she's very helpful for her team. Saint, the best medic in the game. His passive allows for him and his teammate he revives to get a boost of health when picked up. And he gets a revive drone which can be sent to any teammate no matter where they are on the map. He gets legendary helping hands and energized, so he gets his teammates up quicker and gets his drone back quicker. He also has blue lifeline and great purple perks, so his revive only takes 2 seconds if you get helping hands and lifeline, which makes him the best medic in the game. We'll have Saint for sure in the S tier. Scorch, her passive is great but only useful if you're going against rogues with fire. Her ability allows for her bullets to have afterburn, which makes her gun shred through enemies quick. Her perks though take her over the top. She gets legendary bounce back and tenacity with purple volatile to make her Molotov, and her ability to do 30% more damage, and she has other amazing perks, which will put Scorch near the bottom of S tier. Seeker. I absolutely love Seeker, but he's just not very strong, but I'd say definitely underrated. His passive allows for projectiles he bounces to do 2 times damage it would normally do, so if he bounces bow shot, it can kill enemies and even pierce through them and kill multiple. And he's the only intel rogue that can reveal everyone on the team at the same time by using his arrow. He also has really strong perks with legendary crack shot and tracker rounds and purple life drain and lifeline. Seeker, while I wish he was more lethal of a damage rogue, I'll have to put him at B tier. Sigrid. Her passive allows for her to be immune to slowing slowing effects like trench barbed wire and tear gas, and she gets to move 10% quicker than every rogue in the game, which makes her insane. Her shield ability is really good if used correctly. She can push sights or hills for her teammates as a protective shield, and Sigrid as a whole has a big skill gap. For perks, she has legendary life drain and bulletproof, and with solid purple perks, she's a really strong rogue. I'll have to put Sigrid at A tier due to her skill gap, but she could be S tier if used correctly, or even C tier if you don't use her correctly. Switchblade. Her passive is really good when you're in fights and you want to boost a movement, and her ability rocket launcher is really strong if you can catch enemies in it, due to its high dealing damage. She also gets legendary restock and blaster to make it even stronger, along with her purple bulletproof and gunsmith to make her even better. We'll have to put Switchblade at the bottom of A tier due to her ultimate not lasting very long. Talon. His passive mag gloves are really good for grabbing guns off the ground, but it used to be a lot better when he could pull the bomb in demo, and when Yuta would drop on the ground and he was able to pull that to him. And his radar ability is great though, to reveal enemies in a certain radius, and he can basically block off areas if put in unbreakable places. His perks are really great though, with legendary life drain and nimble hands, along with purple crack shot. He's gonna be ready for any fight. But when it comes to his pretty weak passive and the other intel rogues being able to do intel better, we'll have to put him at the top as C tier, close to the B tier. Fixer. Fixer's passive allows for his bullets to do 30% damage to people's armor and 70% to normal health, so he can help his teammates take away players' armor, but while also taking away normal health at the same time. Fixer's smoke gadget and his ability makes for one of the deadliest combos in the game, along with him dealing extra damage while in his ability state. He even gets legendary energized to get his ability back quicker, and purple gadgeteer to get his smoke back even quicker. Along with purple gunsmith and crackshot, he's insanely deadly if he has all of that to use. With all that, we're gonna have to put him around the middle of A tier. Trench. Trench is a really great passive because it allows for him to carry 2 of each gadget instead of just 1 like every other rogue. And his barbed wire can be very deadly and can completely block off entrances if placed correctly. The barbed wire can do insane damage if paired with volatile perk, and he gets legendary armor and energized so he can get his barbed wire back even quicker while having 175 HP. Trench is definitely at the top of A tier. Umbra. Umbra passive is good for giving him extra base health when he gets a down or an assist on an enemy. However, unless you get the 25 extra health, you aren't surviving many more bullets than anyone else. And his ability is really good, but only in casual lobbies, and if people don't run away from it. It's not that good in high tier lobbies at all, unless the player has insane movement with the spider. He does have really good perks though, with the legendary crackshot and gunsmith, along with purple life drain and replenish. If his spider was better and his passive were more prominent, then he would be higher tier. We'll have to put Umbra at the bottom of B tier. ViVi, the newest rogue in the game. However, her and Saint are the only rogues in the game that don't have a lethal gadget. However, Saint has a smoke grenade, which is very useful for blocking enemy view so he can get revives or for his team to rotate, while ViVi gets an EMP, which won't do a whole lot. Her passive allows her to slide, which is really good if used right, and has a skill gap in how it's used. And her ability is really good for helping her team and has a quick cooldown. However, she's really weak in not having a lethal gadget, and her passive can leave her vulnerable if used wrong. And her ability only helps nearby teammates, not every teammate, no matter where they are. So I'm gonna have to put ViVi in the bottom of C tier. And lastly, we have Vi. Vi's passive is really good because as you do damage to enemies, she gains more to her max health. But like Umbra's passive, it limits at 125. But Vi gets hers quicker than Umbra does. Vi's poison is one of the best abilities in the game because not only does the poison last a long time, if you capture enemies in it, it decreases their max health potential completely. And Vi gains health from what the enemy lost due to the poison. Vi also has legendary volatile, which makes the poison do even more damage. And she can get a Molotov, which will also do insane damage. Along with legendary bulletproof, purple gadgeteer, and bounce back, she's very deadly. With all that said, we'll have to put Vi around the middle of S tier. And like that, we're complete with my full tier list for Rogue Company Season 14. Some of the rogues can be in different places, it's personal opinions, but I think this is a really solid, accurate list. However, I really believe any rogue can be A or S tier if used by the right player. Let me know what you think of the tier list in the comments down below. And with all that being said, I'll see y'all later.